Hey, what's up everybody? So this is the i5 Pro IDSD DAC with integrated amplifier. This is probably the best desktop DAC and amp combo I have ever heard. So stick around for this video and I'll tell you all about it. Alright, so now the DAC amp is on and we see the white i5 Pro LED here. And the next thing I'm going to show you is the switch here, which changes the operating mode of the i5 Pro IDSD. If it's set all the way to the left, it's operating in solid state mode. If you move it to the middle, it's going to operate in tube mode. And if you move it all the way to the right, it's going to operate in tube plus mode. So I'm going to go ahead and set it to tube mode, and you're going to see this indicator is going to turn to orange, and you're going to also have an orange glow right here. Once you see that, that means that it's now operating in tube mode, and the music will continue to play while it's warming up the tubes. However, you'll have a slight pause when it does switch over to tube mode. So I'm going to go ahead and switch it onto tube mode now. As you can see here, it's blinking, it's changing the mode. Alright, so now as you can see, it doesn't show on the camera very well, but it is orange. And on top here, I'm going to show you in a bit, you're going to see an orange glow that's coming off the top as well. So on top of the DAC amp, you do see the orange glow here coming in through these cutouts on the top. And you should also see the orange glow coming from the top through the glass here, where the tubes are located right under this. So now I'm going to talk about the different knobs you see here in the front, starting with the one on the left. If you go ahead and turn that, you're going to see that it switches between the different inputs. So you can have USB, XLR, SPDIF, B and C, as well as the setting which handles the streaming portion of it. So this app setting lets you use the i5 Pro IDSD as a network bridge or a streamer using either Ethernet, Wi-Fi, an attached hard disk, or a micro SD card. Now the smaller knob you see here is the digital filter selector. So the first feature available with this knob is setting the DSD remastering mode, and you can select it by pressing the button down. You can set it to DSD 512 remastering, DSD 1024, or you could set it to off. And if you have it set to off, it'll just play your music normally. If you have it set to DSD 512 or 1024, it will convert your music to either DSD 512 or 1024. Now, if you do a long press on this knob, it's going to put it in Wi-Fi protected mode setup and allow you to pair your wireless device with the IDSD Pro. So if you simply turn the knob, this is going to allow you to select the digital filter, and there are 5 digital filters to choose from, starting with Bit Perfect, Bit Perfect Plus, Gives Transient Optimized, Apodizing, and Transient Aligned. My favorite one was the apodizing filter. It just sounded really good to me. I'm not going to go too much into these filters, but you play around with it and select the one that you like the best. Alright, in the center here we have this nice OLED display that's going to display the operation mode such as PCM or DSD, the current sample rate, the filtering mode, the base sample rate, and the currently used inputs such as USB, XLR, and so on. So looking at the front here, you have 3 different outputs, starting with the 6.3mm output you see here, which is single-ended. Then you have a 3.5mm single-ended output here on the left. Finally, you have a 2.5mm balanced output, so you can connect your balanced IEMs, for example, right here. And then you have the gain setting right here, which allows you to set it to 0 or boost it up by 9 dB or 18 dB. I usually leave it on 9 dB, and that's perfect for most of my headphones. Then we have this very nice volume knob here, and I can tell you that it has plenty of tension to allow you to set it to a very specific spot. And you can see it has this indicator here, which works out really nice. Unlike other amplifiers such as the AAA 789, it's very hard to see where it's set to, but with this you'll have no problem setting it, plenty of tension, and yeah, I like it a lot. Finally, here on the bottom right, you have the IR sensor for the remote control. Alright, I went ahead and powered this off, and I'm going to show you the back of the unit to see what kind of connectivity you have there. Alright, so in the back here, you have your analog outputs as well as your digital inputs. Now, there are a lot of connections here, but most of you are not going to use all of them. Alright, so starting with the outputs on the left side, you have your balanced XLR outputs. Then you have your unbalanced RCA connections. Now, as far as digital inputs go, you have your Ethernet connection to get this on the wired network. Then you have a USB connection so you can connect a drive such as a USB drive. Then you have a USB 3.0 connection. Been reading out there that USB 3.0 connections are better for hi-fi audio. Then you have a dual coaxial / optical connector here. And then you have a port for a micro SD card. You have a single XLR 3-pin connection here. And then you have two BNC connections for sync in and sync out. Again, you're not going to use this XLR and these two BNC connections unless you're running pro audio equipment. So most of you don't need to worry about that. You do have the DC port here to connect your wall adapter. You also have a DC loop out in case you attach this to another device. It can also power that if you have the right cable. Finally, you have the small Wi-Fi antenna you see here for Wi-Fi connectivity. So one really sweet thing about the iFi Pro IDSD is it remembers where you left the volume off last. So before it turns off, it will lower the volume all the way down. And then as you see right now, when it finally turns on and it's ready to use, it will automatically put the volume back where it belongs. And this is a really cool feature I haven't seen in any other DAC or amp. As you can see, it turns by itself to the previous setting. And also when you power down the unit, you're going to see that it's going to turn the volume knob all the way down by itself. As you see it here. Really cool and interesting feature that I have not seen anywhere else. Alright, so that does it for the build quality, connectivity, and features of the iFi Pro IDSD. Now I'd like to talk to you guys about the sound and what different headphones I tried it with, and why I think this is one of the best desktop DAC amps that I have come across. Alright, so let's get talking about sound. So the iFi Pro IDSD is for those of you that want the absolute best sound. So maybe you already own a Massdrop AAA 789 amplifier and you want something better. So for example, those of you who have listened to DSD music know that it sounds way better than just regular MP3 or even FLAC files. And the Pro IDSD DAC and amp does support DSD files and can get you the best sound. So it is quite expensive, and I know it's not for everybody. If you guys are interested in more info and the latest price on this, click on the link down in the description below. So iFi does have a flagship amplifier, which is this right here, the iFi Pro iCan, which I previously reviewed, and you can check out the review video up here. Now what this gives you is just more power and a little bit better sound, not that much better than the iFi Pro IDSD. So the main thing you get with the iFi Pro iCan is the balance output. So if you have headphones that require balance output, then you would need something like this. And also the iFi Pro iCan supports their X-Bass and 3D audio features. However, I found myself not using those much at all. So the only reason really to get the iFi Pro iCan and to pair it with this as a DAC is if you want the balanced connection and if you care about the 3D audio and the X-Bass features. Other than that, as far as sound, they both sound great. The iFi Pro iCan just sounds a little bit better than the iFi Pro IDSD and gives you more power. But for all the headphones I actually own, the iFi Pro IDSD did the job and powered them just fine. You only need the Pro iCan if you need more power for your headphones and you want that balanced connection. So the iFi Pro IDSD is the better value here because of all the features it has. It's not only a DAC, it also has a built-in amplifier. And on top of that, you can choose between solid state operation or tube mode. And I really like the tube mode. Tube mode just gives the sound a little bit more texture, just easier to listen to, very pleasant. Whereas the solid state mode is more for analytical listening. Maybe you're listening to some DSD audio, I would turn it on the solid state mode for that. But if you're just listening to music, relaxing, tube mode is the way to go. I would avoid the tube plus mode because it kind of distorts the sound a little bit too much. So keep in mind this device is also a streamer. So if you already own a bunch of audio and you want to be able to play it from somewhere, then this device would work really well for you. I myself tend to stream most of my music nowadays. I use Qobuz for my streaming needs and it does the job for me. But if you have your stuff on an SD card, a USB drive, or if you want to put this on the network and stream your stuff that way, you can definitely do it with this. So you can always start with the Pro IDSD and upgrade to a higher end amplifier using the XLR connections here. So you have a lot of options with all the connections here. So it's really amazing how they packed all this in such a small package. It is quite heavy compared to other amplifiers and DACs, but with all the technology that's in here, it doesn't surprise me. And I must say this is really one of the most beautiful looking DAC amps I've seen out there. you could tell they really spent a lot of time in the design of this DAC amp. Alright, as far as sound, how does the i5 Pro IDSD compare to something like the Massdrop AAA789, which I have back here? And I've listened to both of them on and off. And I must say there's just a big jump in audio quality. There's really no comparison between the 789 and this. So of course, because of the price, I can't afford this, but I do want to thank iFi Audio for sending this out for my review, because it was really a pleasure to listen to this. And I'm really sad that I'm gonna have to return it, but I will have my AAA 789. But knowing that this is out there, I definitely want to save for something a bit better than that. And yeah, if you're looking for something better than the 789, the Pro IDSD is definitely better than that. It was especially apparent when I was listening to DSD audio. You could really hear the little details on the Pro IDSD compared to the 789. I mean, everything just sounded crisp here. On the 789, stuff sounded a little bit more like rolled off. This gave so much detail. If you really want to listen to detail, this is it right here. So I really enjoyed listening to the Pro IDSD with my Beyerdynamic DT1990s. And although this DAC amp is a bit bright, just meaning there's a lot of detail, sharp detail that you can get with these headphones in particular. It still sounded great. I mean, it wasn't like my ears were bleeding or anything. So yeah, it was a good listening experience, and these are pretty much my daily drivers, so I use them for everything from editing, playing games, and so on. The i5 Pro IDSD worked great for music and games, and I use the DT1990 mostly with this DAC amp. Now when I wanted to relax and listen to some music, I would bust out my Audeze LCD2 Classics, which you see here, and this is just an amazing combo. I mean, those of you who have heard the LCD2 Classics know that they tend to be a bit dark, but with this brighter sounding DAC amp, it's really a good balance, and this is like the marriage made in heaven here with the LCD2 Classics and the Pro IDSD. So what more is there to say? I mean, this is a real space saver. You're gonna have it on your desk like I had it, because the DAC and amp are all in one unit, and they're both very high quality. So what else can I say about the i5 Pro IDSD? Well, I would say that the fact that it's enclosed all in one unit, and it's a fairly small package, even though it is heavy, this is going to sit on your desk. You're not going to move it around much. It just works out really well, and I like the nice display right here. Kind of tells you what's going on as you're moving the knobs around. And absolutely everything is high quality. Now I would like to tell you that this device will make all your headphones sound better, but I found that wasn't the case. I actually tried the Monoprice Retros, and they sounded pretty horrible with this. I just think those headphones couldn't handle the dynamic range that this would spit out. And yeah, I didn't use the Monoprice Retro headphones after that. I stuck to the Beyerdynamic headphones. Even my Beyerdynamic DT990s, which I use for gaming a lot, those sounded great on this. And if you're like me and do most of your music listening in the night, then you need a pair of headphones like these. These are the Fossix TRX00s, and these are closed back headphones. For the most part, they do leak a little bit of sound, but as far as I'm concerned, they are closed back, and they paired really well with the i5 Pro IDSD. You do get quite a bit of bass on this, and it's nice clean bass. And one good thing I like about the TRX00s is that they're not all about bass. They also have a very good treble response, and that works really well with the i5 Pro IDSD because of all the level of detail that this outputs, and you can definitely hear it with these headphones. Alright, so here's my conclusion on the i5 Pro IDSD. It's just not for everybody because of the high price point. But say for those of you who already have a $1,000 DAC and amp combo and want to upgrade to something better, and this is definitely something that you should have your eyes on if you want to upgrade. It's definitely one of the best sounding desktop DAC amps I've heard out there. And it has a lot of features all in one unit, which is something I really like. And it does give you the option to use a different amplifier later if you wanted to, which is really great. You also get the benefit of having a solid state and a tube amp in one unit, which is great. You can switch back and forth as you want. Just takes a few seconds, flip of a switch, and you're there. And I actually enjoyed both modes. It just depends what my mood was at the time, what I wanted to listen to. Whether I wanted a more analytical sound or if I wanted to just relax and listen to some music and just have it sound nice and pleasant. So yeah, of course, if you have some extra money to throw around, of course, the ultimate combo would be the i5 Pro IDSD, but the i5 Pro iCan. And I listened to that combo and it just sounded amazing. But I really don't think you need that. I think the i5 Pro IDSD is good enough. As long as you're okay with not having a balanced connection. And if you don't care about the 3D audio and the X-Base features, then I think you'll be fine. You definitely will not be disappointed with this device. So who else is this device for? So for those of you who want to just listen to the best quality audio out there, whether it be MQA on Tidal or high-res audio on Qobuz, or if you have a big collection of high-quality FLAC files, this is definitely the device for you. And more so for those of you who want to listen to the best audio format out there as far as audio quality, DSD audio files. This device is definitely for you guys if you want the best. So if you guys want more info on the i5 Pro IDSD, I will leave a link down in the description. And I would really like to hear your feedback down in the comments below. So until the next video, see you then.